the reason you're not able to get the results out of AI that you really want is most likely because you don't understand how to prompt well. Most people think that prompting is just going into ChatGPT and saying like, write me an article about this or write me a post about this, and maybe refining it and going back and forth. But in this video, we're going to talk about both the different types of prompts, and we're going to go into tutorials of how to build those prompts and how to implement them into AI agent systems. And so by the end of this video, you're going to understand advanced prompt engineering and how to structure prompts to different frameworks, and you'll be getting 10x, maybe even 100x the output, the quality of the output, as you are currently right now. And so we're going to be going into this tool called Prometheus, where we basically go in, we can split test prompts in real time with different models, and get the exact output that we want, similar to this landing page copywriter, where it's understanding pain points, it's writing us headlines, getting us desired results, challenges, objections, features and benefits, call to actions, or whatever other use case you want. We're going to understand how to prompt these systems, such as in AI agent systems. So let's say we have an AI agent system like this. We'll understand how to actually craft a really refined prompt for these agents, such that we can get it to do and to call the exact tools that we want it to call. And then on top of that, I'm going to go into a bunch of different prompts that you can use to this entire swipe file database of prompts that I have compiled here, which is all related to copywriting, customer research, like writing landing pages, writing social media content, understanding, being able to ideate on new offers and products, all this stuff, as well as, a bunch of examples of high quality copywriting that you can add straight into these prompts. And then if you want to dive deeper, there's some resources here as well to go like really advanced. So by the end of this video, that's what you will achieve. And so let's dive into it and start understanding the different frameworks of prompts and how to actually build them out. And so most people think that prompting is just, like I said, write me an article about XYZ, and then maybe like giving it some more context. This is like a very basic prompt, and you can still improve the prompt engineering of these prompts and get like higher quality outputs of, just like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever it is that you use. But the prompts that I'm really focused on here are what are prompts that you can actually implement into systems, right? So these are called like, few shot prompts. Like maybe you give it this, you get a result back and you say, no, actually do this instead or change it this way. This is very low leverage prompting because you have to go in here and you have to be working with these models to change it, to shorten it and add it in this style. But you're expending a lot of energy going and actually like having a back and forth dialogue with this model. The type of prompting that I'm interested in is this. These are one-shot prompts. So one-shot prompts is essentially where we will spend a lot of time customizing this exact prompt that we want, and then we can reuse this prompt over and over and over again, and we never have to go through the work of going back and forth with ChatGPT in the first place. And so what this looks like is, let's say we want to have a way of like reverse engineering a niche, right? So let's say we have, so this tool is called Prometheus. Basically allows you to put a bunch of different models in here. We have Perplexity, XAI, Anthropic, and then you put in your API keys for whatever the different models are that you want to use. And you can basically split test and see the different outputs of these prompts. And I can even say like, I want to identify potential niche audiences to write copy for. I could create a variation of this to write content, and you can just change various subtleties. And so this is what is called a one-shot prompt. And these are the types of prompts that you're going to be integrating into systems like N8N or Make.com. Whenever you're calling an API, an AI API, you want to make sure that your one-shot prompt is really high quality. And so to go over the basic frameworks of how to prompt, we're actually going to create a new prompt here. And so the basics of how to prompt are this. Let's say we go in here, and we want to block our prompt out into different basically categories. And so the way that you improve your prompts is that you make the structure of your prompt as easy to understand as possible. If you just do like a block of text that's like 200 words, it's not going to know like which are more important than others, etc., etc. And so with that being said, to actually block it out is extremely important, and that's what Prometheus allows us to do. And so essentially the first block is going to be whatever the objective is that you want the thing to achieve, or rather there's the system message, which is like, you are an intelligent copywriter, or you are a world-class landing, or let's say cold email copywriter. Let's say we're trying to write a cold email. And then the next one is going to be like the objective. So if I go in here, rename this is the objective block. And then the next block is usually the formatting guidelines. And then the next block is going to be, and we can switch these around, but tone and voice. And then the next block is going to be examples. And then sometimes after that, it's like, you can think of it like data. And so this is the overall structure of the prompt, of a really high quality prompt. So let's actually go through and write a prompt here so you can kind of see what I mean by this. So your primary objective, or not even primary, your objective is to write a cold email to someone in the B2B SaaS industry with the goal of capturing attention and eliciting a reply, an interested reply from the prospect. So that is the overall objective of what we want this thing to do. So the formatting guidelines is, and we're actually going to put this in here, formatting guidelines. You'll use colon, and then you use these brackets, and you'll just bullet whatever you want it to say. So we'll say formatting guidelines start with hey, first name, boom boom, new line, personalized research. And then in this we'll also say use the research data about the prospect included below when crafting your email. And then we'll say start with hey, first name, personalized research, and then maybe the second one is always end the email with best regards, new line, Ethan Nelson. I don't remember if it's forward or backslash, and then for JSON, and then output your response in JSON, and keep the email below 100 words. So maybe those are our formatting guidelines, or we can also call these output guidelines. I actually kind of like that better. And then the next thing, so now we're giving it, we're training it a little bit and saying here's kind of how we want you to respond to this. And then you can kind of do a one-liner, and I might actually add this up here. Output in a stoic, in a professional yet stoic tone of voice. And you can kind of take some of your emails and try to reverse engineer this. You can just ask ChatGPT something like, given these 3 emails that I've written, reverse engineer the tone of voice. And I also have this if you go on over to the community, we have a swipe file of a bunch of different prompts that you can use. And one of these prompts is a prompt writer. So what you can actually do is take this prompt writer, based on you can basically have an entire like dialogue with ChatGPT, and then at the end you can ask it to do this, and ask it to actually just like create the prompt for you. So that's the output guidelines. Then the next is going to be the examples. The same thing, we'll do examples colon, and we'll say example 1, example 2, example 3, and then we'll take some of the emails that we've written. So Maybe I'll go over here to a campaign that I'm running, and then maybe I will go to an email, the sequences, and I'll say like boom, here's an example, and I'll put it in quotes. There's an example 1, and then here's an example 2, and maybe we'll just do 2 for this one. And so we're giving examples of like, this is how I want you to output the response, and then we'll say like research on prospect, and then inside this research I'm gonna go to Perplexity actually, and I'm gonna ask it something like do research on Ethan Nelson for me. We'll see if it actually gets the right Ethan Nelson. Oh, it looks like it did. Background, philosophy and consciousness writer, PhD student in data science. That's actually not me, but it got the first part right. All right, so let's say like he records videos on philosophy and AI on YouTube and has worked in blockchain. So let's see if it can refine it. So basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm getting this data from Perplexity. I'm going to be putting this data into the prompt so that we can increase the quality of the prompt. And there's a couple different frameworks we can use, but mainly it's objective, format, examples, data. So let's see if it gets this information. And that's what we're going to add down here. And so when we're using Prometheus, there's a couple different things we can do. We can test this out. So I can just copy this and create a version 2. But then maybe I want to, maybe I want to change this to below 150. Maybe I don't want to output it as JSON. You know, maybe I want it to keep the email short and concise and to the point. So whatever it is, right? And then let's say I'm going to add some research in here on the prospect. It still hasn't got this information, so let's just say this all is me, even though it's not. Only like a couple of these are me. So it's like boom, there's some information. Now I actually have to go and grab an API key. So I'm gonna stop this video and go and grab this, but basically what I'm doing here is I'm going to add the API keys into Prometheus. So basically what I've done is I've just gotten the API keys, I've plopped them in here, and now that we have access to these APIs, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna test this out. So let's say I want to do GPT-4o. Let's see what the output of this is. So GPT-4o, hi Ethan, I noticed your extensive work in XYZ. I work with XYZ, the pitch. So it pretty much wrote this exactly how I formatted it. And so if we test different types of emails, we can basically craft these entire emails personalized to every individual at scale, like this, like a sales agent that we can build. So let's say we're not super happy with that. Let's try maybe O1. Let's see what O1's output is. And sometimes it errors out. You just have to switch back and forth. Or sometimes the models, they like phase out certain models. So let's see O1 mini. Let's see if this one works. Looks like it doesn't want to. There we go. So here's O1 mini. I admire your work integrating neuroscience with data science. That's actually wasn't me, but it's truly pioneering at smart scaling AI. We do this, and basically what you could say is like you could cater how you describe your organization to their experience. Like this is a sales project we could build out. But now what we can do is like, okay, well, OpenAI is not giving me the best result. What if I do Quad Opus? This is usually the highest quality result I've found. I haven't tested out O3 too much, but so I'm reaching out because my company's semantic synthesis AI. So maybe we want to say like, okay, but we wanted to write it about our company. Output guidelines. Then we can test this. So we can say, how would we say this? We would say, relate their experience back to my company smart scaling AI. And then we could complete that, and let's see what the output of that is. Came across your writings on psychology and Web3. I'm reaching out because, and so it didn't give me the right output again. And so sometimes you have to say, you have to put it in other places. So what happens if we put it into the objective? Your goal is to craft an email that connects the dots between their experience back to my company smart scaling AI. And so we put that in the objective, and you can see we're split testing this, right? And what I probably should have done at smart scaling AI, we're doing boom, open a brief chat. All right, and so you can see, let me copy this and paste it, but you can see what actually happened was, I probably should have just, just left it here, and then I'm going to create a new variable. We can actually rename this variable if we want, and we can say like relate back to company, and this is like the original. And so we can name these variables out, we can test these different variables, and it's like, and I can just run this as many times as I want, right? So maybe I want to do quad 3.5 sonnet and see what that result is. And then what I can basically do is, the purpose of this is to get as high quality of a prompt as possible so that this output is exactly what I want it to be, right? It looks like it's double outputting for some reason. Maybe it's because I did it in a rapid succession. But it's like creating this output, right? And I'm refining it, and the goal is to get the exact output that I want every single time. What I can do, and I can rank this from using a star, thumbs up, medium, or thumbs down. So what I can do is I can say like, this is a thumbs up, this is thumbs down, it did it twice, this is thumbs down, thumbs down. And basically what it can do is it can show us what this chain of blocks is. So it's the system prompt, objective, tone of voice. So what I can do is say like, okay, maybe it's actually like there's a block that's missing or something. What I could do is I could go in here, I can turn this tone of voice off, and I can run this prompt without the tone of voice and see like, okay, what happens if I remove the tone of voice? All right, that's okay. Or like maybe that's better. And then what I can do is I can essentially see, if I go in here, I can see like, look at, this was solid, a little, half red, half green, and I can start to see like how much of each, like how good each prompt is on each split test. And then maybe I want to change the temperature. This is like more variability or less variability. Maybe I want more. So I want to do like 1.35. And maybe I want to change the token limits, right? And there's maybe I want to make sure it outputs in JSON. So let's see if this works. Let's try OpenAI actually. OpenAI. Let's output this in JSON. It looks like it's not really liking the JSON mode enabled. Said I came across your work, and so it's like doing all this research on me based on what I've given it. And so this is like, let me call this like cold email copywriter. And so now we have a cold email copywriter system that, if as we refine this, like for some of these prompts, it says completions 33. And you can see it over here as well. I guess it says 19 over here. But for some of these prompts, I've iterated and done 150 iterations, or 150 to 200 to 300 completions, and it takes me like an hour or two to really refine one prompt. But then as soon as I have this prompt, the next step is I will take this prompt, I can preview the entire prompt, like this is what's being sent, and maybe the research is, you know, something that I'm going to add in as a variable. So what I can do is I can go in here. Oh, and by the way, you can filter by one of these. So maybe I want to find all of the greens, all of the stars, and it's like, okay, here's all of the ones. It was these blocks, and it was Claude Sonnet. Then what I can do is I can copy this entire prompt. Where's the copy button? I think I go, oh yeah, if I preview it, I can take the entire user prompt, and I can go into something like N8N, and I can, like, let's say I have like a cold email copywriting agent. Let me actually just go back here, create a new workflow. So let's say I'm going and trying to build an agent using this prompt, this is what I would do. Is I would say like, okay, maybe there's like I'll just do a trigger manually for now, but maybe I have a bunch of leads and information about those leads. So maybe I want to like get all the rows in the sheet that match a specific condition. And then once I have all of those leads, I want to, maybe I'm going to do some perplexity. I think I actually built a system like this. Let me actually just go to the one I built. So I built a system like this where it goes, and I was like trying to reach out to like local businesses, auto shops, and see if they could use agents. And so basically I like got a bunch of leads. I looped over each of those leads. I used perplexities to, I guess I'll delete this API key so you guys can't steal it. So I'm getting a bunch of information about these leads on Perplexity, and then I'm going into this API, OpenAI API, and I'm adding the prompt into these systems, right? So inside of this system, I'm going in here, and I'm just like, because I've tested the prompt, I know it's going to perform well, and then I can basically take this prompt, right, and I can add in both the Perplexity data, as well as, I can copy this entire prompt right here. And I'm actually just going to do it on a new one. Let's say I have like OpenAI, message of model. I'm going to paste that entire prompt in here. And now this prompt, and then I'm going to say like user, add message, and then I'm going to create a fixed expression. And I'm going to add the JSON from the previous nodes directly into here. And so now I've done the work of understanding exactly what the prompt is, understanding exactly what the output is, and then maybe I output it as JSON, and I add the perplexity information here, and then boom, I have an extremely high quality AI agent system, or this is not an agent, but an AI system that is doing this for me, right? And so at the end of the day, prompting is all about split testing your prompts, understanding exactly what you're trying to get after, and then crafting the prompts and split testing the different components of the prompt. And by far the most important component is this examples block, right? If I don't include this examples here, let me show you how different the output is. Let me stop filtering here. See, subject, I recently came across impressive work at prospects company where you breathe, and it's like it's not that good, right? And see how different every single one is. Like this is way longer, and it has a different like personalization component. It's using brackets instead of curly braces. This one's way different. And now if I turn this examples block back on, we can see how consistent it is and how it's basically outputting the same exact thing every time. I've noticed your work at so-and-so, particularly how you've done so-and-so. I was inspired by it. I work with Smart Scaling AI. This relates back to your work in XYZ way. We'd love to do this for you. What do you think? And so you can see how big of a difference just adding this examples block in here is. And so that's kind of how you build prompts into these systems. There's a lot of different use cases. So if I go in here and show you some of these use cases, let's say we want to create a landing page, right? And and by the way, you can check how much each of it costs. Like this model cost me for 86 completions. Like I've spent this much money on all of these prompts. You can kind of see how much they're costing you. And inside of here, you can see like this cost me 1.5 cents. You can start to see like, and you can start to calculate how much this is going to cost if you implement it into a system. So for a system that I'm running 30,000 times, like I've run these systems that have personalized 30,000 emails, what's 1 cent times 30,000? It's like what, $30? Now if I have a system that is costing me 50 cents per run, if I run it 30,000 times, it might cost me $400, right? So you can start to calculate how much these cost. So I want to go over some of the different use cases. There's the landing pages. You can identify niches. You can take someone else's landing page. You can like scrape it using an HTTP request, and you can funnel it, and you can basically reverse engineer all of these different components of, say, a landing page into your system, so that you get like, okay, here's all of the different components. Here's niche guidelines, right? You can use all of these reverse engineering components, and I've added all of these into the community. So if you go over to the description in the community, we have all these different prompts in here. We have the initial swipe file, which includes all of them. I think I have a swipe file. So I basically aggregated hundreds of different prompts here that you can use for customer research, for content creation, for content ideation, for doing research on copy, and then specific blocks that you can add in. So let's say you want a prompt block for your tone. So you can add this specific prompt block in, and then you can choose one of these tones, right? And so you can see all of the different prompts inside of the community if you wanted to write a VSL for you. And these are all prompts that I've used Prometheus to create as I've worked on different projects. So you'll see some of these different projects here. If I go like in here, you can see like for this client, we're writing Twitter threads and we're testing this out. We tested this out 70 times. We got the specific data in here, output in a journalistic tone, formatting guidelines, output guidelines. You can also switch these up. So separate each tweet with XYZ, like how do you want it actually formatted, and then what is the overall output. And so you can see, and then we're actually adding variables into this objective prompt as well. So you can see there's a bunch of different like subject line writer, CTA writer. And so I want to talk about chain prompting next, because that is the natural evolution once you learn how to prompt extremely high quality prompts, is chain prompting. And so if you use these, prompt blocks here, or the prompt blocks, you use these prompt writers, it gets you your tone of voice. You use like the tone of voice generator to get a high quality tone of voice using your data. Maybe you create like some desired outcomes or offers. The next iteration of this is you want to actually chain these prompts together. So if we go over here to make.com, let me actually just pull up. If we go over here to make.com, I'll actually show you, I think I might have it, oops. So I want to show you how we can actually chain prompts together inside of something like Make or N8N. So the natural iteration of this is you do all of this prompt engineering, you get a super high quality subject writer. So this is kind of the key shift you need to make. AI is really good. It's getting better by the day. But if you ask it to do too much, if you give it too complex of a task, it's going to fail. So how do we actually solve for this? How we solve for this is we go into something like Make or N8N. And so this is an actual client build that I did. You have it do specific things. For a specific tweet writer, what we did is we had it go in and it says, write a Twitter thread about XYZ. Here's the output guidelines, formatting guidelines. Here's the article, right? But then what we did is we had it write a hook tweet. So then we have it write a hook tweet, and it's saying write a hook tweet, and we're taking this thread and adding the output of the last module, which was the Twitter thread. Then we input it into the next module, which was this one. It says write a hook tweet, keep the output less than 200 characters, use divergent, convergent, contrarian, and design thinking to come up with the tweets you provide. Imitate the structure, tone, style, formatting, and flow of the tweet examples I provided below using the following formatting guidelines, the following copywriting frameworks using the hook, retain, reward copywriting strategy, which is a Hermosi strategy, and using the following tweet examples. So you can see that the natural iteration of this is, well, I want it to use the thread to write as high quality of just a hook, because the hook is really important. So we have it write the hook, we have it write this, the other module, etc., etc. And so you can do that. Another use case, which I actually just built out really recently for the YouTube videos, so I basically have it go, where is it at? Did I put it in the sales one? Basically what's happening is I have this system, I think it might be in marketing. Oh yeah, it's definitely in marketing. So I have it help me with video ideas. So I'm basically finding videos that I really like on YouTube. I'm adding the transcript into a ClickUp file, and then I'm basically chain prompting that transcript together. So that transcript is coming in through this webhook. I'm cutting it down so it's only 500 characters. And what I'm doing is like, all right, so now take this transcript and reverse engineer a feature list, a problem list, a solution, the promise of it, a potential hook, a potential roadmap, and then get the original task and update it. And so the output of that is, let me actually go over here to ClickUp and show you what the output is. So if we go here, we can see that for this video in particular, I found a couple really high quality prompt engineering videos. I already understood a lot of it, but I wanted to refine it. I put in a transcript for this video, and it says here's potential pain points people will struggle with, here's potential solutions you can guide them to, prompt frameworks, key concepts, getting prompts right without the back and forth tweaking. Here's the promise: by the end of this video, you'll have a practical understanding of prompt engineering for AI agent and AI automation system architecture. And then it gives me a couple hooks. These actually aren't that good. I'll probably refine this prompt a little bit. And then a structured roadmap, and it basically says, and I have a little checklist here: research it, adapt it to my channel, run it through the system, install the system, memorize it, click record, and this is what we're on right now. So for every single video, I have this checklist that I run through, but I have this prompt chain where I'm basically taking all these different aspects of information that I want that will help me record a video, and I'm using these prompts to get that information, right? So there's a ton of different use cases, but I want to just like kind of rapid fire some use cases here. Writing Twitter threads, writing call to actions for content, writing articles, writing article outlines, writing hooks, writing YouTube video transcripts. These are a lot of the marketing components. Writing email sequences, email templates, webinar titles, webinar headline generators. We can have it write reverse engineer problem and solutions from other people's products, finding problems, finding solutions, finding audience, like identifying specific audiences, identifying specific problems, identifying specific desired results, taking specific copywriting frameworks and taking our ideas in sort of stream of consciousness, so to speak, adding in a target audience, the type of copywriting that you want to do, and then taking that framework to help you turn your idea into like high quality copywriting. So it's basically saying like, here's an example of how to capture attention, how to create desire, how to ask the audience to take action, and then it's the AIDA framework, or the 4Ps framework, I think is Alex Hormozy framework, so you can add it in here. So any of these like lessons that you're learning from various videos online, turn those into a prompt and create a system around them, right? So we have like niche audiences, so I can add in a bunch of different audiences in here, and then I can split test these prompts with all these different data sets of audiences, all these different data sets of pain points, of desires, of specific value propositions I'm trying to target. That's kind of on the marketing side of things. On the sales side of things, let's go through some of the systems here. On the sales side of things, these are the systems I'm running on a daily basis. Pulling sales call transcripts and creating proposals, updating records in CRM, basically taking a transcript, writing a prompt to get a specific type of information out of that transcript, and then adding it to maybe a CRM or some sort of lead system. Personalizing outreach messages to leads. You can use it for, let's see what some of these, writing LinkedIn posts, generating LinkedIn post headlines, creating standard operating procedures, scraping a list of ads, and reverse engineering those offers within those ads is a system I'm building out for a client at the moment. And sending replies. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do this, and pretty much at the end of the day, it's whatever. There's an infinite amount of different use cases, right? Those are some of the use cases I've seen, I've used, but you can use this strategy to basically take whatever output you're trying to achieve at scale and craft a prompt for that specific strategy. And then over time, you can refine these. You can test them on different models. You can go up to, I think I saw O3 mini. Like we can start testing this on O3. It looks like it's airing. Maybe we don't have access to it yet. Let's see if we can use this one. No. But anyway, you can test it on different models for different use cases, etc., etc. Um, and so inside of the community, I lay out a bunch of different prompts here. Some of the extra fundamentals, like we talked about chaining here, but simulated thinking, XML tags, etc., etc. And we actually go and build these live on Zoom calls once a week. And so basically you can just take any of these prompts. You can take this method that I showed you below. You can take a prompt like this, and then you could go into something like ChatGPT. You could paste this prompt in. You could change it with your balance. I say like more educational. We could say industry trends. AI agents are booming. We can say content goals to create interest in a swipe file lead magnet. A list of prompts. Upcoming product launch in 1 month. 1 year of AI agent development expertise. I build AI agents that help scale B2B SaaS companies. And I think the last one here is ICP, B2B SaaS companies that recently received funding. And so you can see there's all these prompts in here. And so this is helping me develop a content strategy. So if I trigger this prompt here, it will basically go, and using whatever model you want, you can take these prompts and you can increase the quality of the output. So I've shown this a lot as something to integrate into N8N, Make.com, whatever. You can also do this directly inside of, some of these are directly for like ChatGPT or Claude. So let's kick things off. Like for this prompt that I just plugged in here, I want to reach B2B SaaS founders that recently received funding and are looking to use AI agents to scale their outbound channels. So maybe that's the ICP that I'm going after. It's going to be doing some reasoning. I build AI agents that help scale SaaS companies. And so because in this prompt we asked it to help us generate a content calendar, it's just coming back to me and it's asking all of these questions. And so as it's asking me all these questions, it's getting clarity on all these pieces of information that it needs. And then I say, like, I've been building agents for 6 months and have built at least a dozen agents for clients in the B2B space. And so it's probably going to have 1 or 2 more questions here, and then it's going to lay out an entire content calendar for us. And one of the things to think about, is you can, as you stack these prompts on top of each other, you can really figure out, like, okay, what are the components of high quality copy? Maybe it's I understand what the specific, pain points, desired outcomes, solutions, objectives are of a specific type of product. I want to reach my audience on LinkedIn. And then you can say, like, you can have a prompt that generates the problems, the prompts that generates the solutions, prompts that generates the niche audience, and then you can basically create it in Make.com so that one module generates the problem, one generates the solution, one generates the objective, one generates the audience, and then the last prompt you use something like one of these prompts that compiles them all together and use the outputs of every single one of those as variables into the last prompt. So you kind of have like 3 independent prompts, and then you have one prompt that's integrating them all together. And I'm seeing the trend that businesses have resistance to adopt AI agents because they disrupt too many aspects of the organization. And so you can actually see, like, I had this one prompt, which is the interviewer prompt. It's interviewing me about my content plan. It's asked me one, like it's not generating any output except for questions. So it's asked me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions. And eventually it's just going to take all this information. I could have made this 2 paragraphs long, each of these 2 paragraphs long, and then it's like, I want to inspire change and give pattern interrupts to my audience to help break them out of their current way of thinking about sales and marketing in the context of online business. And so maybe that's kind of like my goal. And so as it's interviewing me, it's getting this information. And so maybe I do this once. I get the entire content calendar or outreach strategy or something like that. And then I plug this into something like Airtable, and you can see the opportunities are endless here. So I'm trying to show you what the output of this like interviewer prompt is, and to show you like even within ChatGPT or Claude, if you have a really high quality prompt, you can have it like interview you and pull specific types of information out of you, such that like rather than just saying create me a content calendar, it's gonna be like, okay, here's a generic content calendar, versus interview me, you are a content planning assistant. Your goal is to have a natural conversation with the user to gather all the information needed to create a comprehensive content plan. Ask me open-ended questions and follow-up prompts to encourage detailed response. Your objective is to extract information about the user's target audience, user's company, the area of expertise or main content topic, any upcoming events or important dates, preferred balance between educational content, valuable resources, blah 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 blah. Remember, adapt your language if the user, etc. Language guidelines, conversational flow guidelines. And you can see outline to fill out at the end of the conversation, ICP, brand, expertise, preferred balance, industry, and at the end of the day, and it's saying like, okay, so the user wants to reach XYZ, and especially this is with O3 mini, so it's actually pretty high quality. It's still thinking. But like obviously the output of this is going to be a lot higher than if I asked it to just create me a content plan for LinkedIn about AI agents for B2B SaaS companies. So I hope you found this prompt engineering guide or course useful. My kind of call to action for you is just start experimenting, right? Just start testing things out. I think there's a free trial of Prometheus. Just get the free trial, add in your API keys, just start trying to craft and split test different prompts and see if you can actually refine what the output is on a one-shot prompt, as well as on some of these conversational prompts. And like the best thing you can do for anything AI related is just start testing stuff out. Just start doing things. Just throw something at the wall, see what sticks. This is how I learned how to craft prompts. This is how you're going to learn how to craft prompts, how to craft systems. Just start doing things. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to mess up and create a system. Like, what's the worst that could happen? You create a prompt that doesn't work. You create a system that, doesn't quite get the output that you want, right? And so there's really no downside here. And so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got value out of it. And yeah, I will see you later.